How nice to see you again.
Lovely to see you. Yeah.
It's been such a long time since we've seen each other all work together professionally.
Fair number of years.
I
yes.
remember you and I from the old days of Cavo or even Kerr.
Yes.
And I know we know that we met each other actually dentally as well.
Yes.
To do some dentistry
Yep.
for you. For me, I've watched you almost as well, not professionally from afar, and seen that you have transitioned through the dental industry,
Yeah.
and now see that you have a role that takes practices perhaps from a place that's difficult in learning how to communicate with people, how to talk with people, and sales always used to be a rather difficult and dirty word in healthcare. But what do you do with your coaching?
You're right. That's the key, I think. It always was a dirty word because you are healthcare professionals. And I think, if I'm not wrong, at dental school you were taught to diagnose and treat to the best of your ability. And under the NHS, that was relatively easy because you could look at my mouth, I'm a free NHS patient, you say you need this, I say yes. Very simple. Obviously, as we know, everybody knows, dentistry has transitioned tremendously in the last 30, 40 years. And for many reasons, let's not get political, a lot more has to be paid for. So that's a different conversation. Dentistry is very personal because you're going to touch us, but money is often more personal for the patient. So people will often talk about their ailments much more openly, they'll talk about money. So, and also I think for a clinician, talking about money almost seems not right because you're a clinician.
Yeah, it's always been, I think all of us who run a business find that somehow thrust into the world of private dentistry, we had no coaching on it. We had no, at dental school there was no teaching on it. So
and still isn't.
And still isn't, I'm sure. You might or might not remember, I spent 10 years of my life having a part-time teaching position at Guy's Dental School. I do know from all my friends in the academic world that still it's an area that's glossed over. But for me, I always think it must be about communication. So when you go to a practice, how do you take your practices on that journey? Because if you're starting from a point, and I think maybe us dentists, we're the worst at it, we don't know how to do it. We're also not very good at asking for help. So how do you
That's true.
how do you help people like me?
Yeah.
How do you do that process, and how do you come into the business and make meaningful changes for us?
Firstly, when I do get asked about help, it's either from one dentist within the practice, certainly when it's one, or it might be, can you just help our reception team because we need more patients? And my mantra is, yes I can, but I need to help the whole team. And I say that because patients will say different things to different members of the team. So they'll be very open with the receptionist, really open with the treatment coordinator, and quite open with a hygienist, but they'll often clam up when they get to see the clinician because of the white coat syndrome.
Yeah.
So however nice a dentist you are, patients often don't tell you the full truth, or won't ask you the right questions, but they'll go and ask somebody else. So my philosophy is I look at the whole team. So firstly, where I can, I try to mystery shop the practice. So that's easy on the phone. I can make a phone call and record it. So I get that first feel for the business. And then if I can come in as a patient, as a mystery patient, so it's only me and the owner that know, then I get a feel for the process. So like you want to diagnose and treat me, I can't treat you as a practice till I've diagnosed the issue. Because what you think is the problem as the owner is probably 60% of the truth. What I will see is the rest, because, as I said, patients will say different things to different members of the team. So often in a practice, it's not just that dentists and clinicians are not asking the right questions, but it's also that the processes aren't right to share information. So that's the first thing. I have to diagnose you first, because I've got a standard training course, but it's never standard when I deliver it, because every practice is different. So
it's a very interesting time, isn't it, in dentistry, with the fact you mentioned treatment coordinators. I think suddenly the profession's woken up to say that different people have different skills.
Yes.
We certainly in our practice have realised that word team is, well, it is
fundamental.
It is fundamental. We have a very simple conversation that I haven't got my job without any of the others.
No.
If nobody answers the phone, then nobody will walk through the front door, and it goes all the way through.
Yeah.
And I have learned now to put my ego to bed,
Yeah.
and realise that actually I'm one of the less important people in order to make the business work.
Yes. And it's also that little fear from the patient. As I said, I'm not frightened clinically because I know dentistry. But if I go and see a doctor, I'm much happier to ask another member of the team what they've just said than I will ask the doctor. And I'm very confident in asking questions. But it's just that little, well, I don't want to look stupid in front of the clinician. So it's essential you work as a team, because I might be happier to say something to your nurse or somebody to your receptionist that I'll never say to you, but you need to know it. And you may have even asked me about it. I might lie to you,
yes,
because you're the dentist. So if that team information is not being shared, then you're missing stuff. So my view is I've got to get you all asking similar questions.
And how have you learned that? Is it with a background in sales? Is it just like you and I have grey hair that you pick it up as you go on? Where did you learn how to guide us?
I was taught sales beautifully in my 4th sales job by a guy back in 1986. So what he taught me in terms of sales, I'm still teaching you. What I've learned from a clinical perspective is observation. So I've spent 38 years now observing, working and observing dentists. And in the last 10 years, I spent a lot of time with my little video camera, placing it in your room, so I can record you without me in the room, so you forget, and then playing it back to you and to me. And you can see, as I said, you can look in my mouth and see what's wrong clinically, where I'm missing cleaning and things like that. I can look at your conversations with patients and say, if you just did this, or you just did that, it would change this. So just by observation, I can diagnose it, and then I can give you the solution.
The fly on the wall.
Yeah, exactly that, yeah.
I've always wondered, what is the common thing that us dentists always seem to do wrong? Is there a common thing that we do wrong?
You don't ask enough questions. You just don't ask enough questions. You look, you talk, you treat us beautifully, you're friendly, you're warm. In the main, most dentists I meet these days have got that personal touch now. And what they don't do is just spend just a few, and I'm not talking about a long time, because every day says, well, I can't do it, I haven't got time. You have, because if you listen to Radio 4, and when they say, I'm giving you 15 seconds, you look how much a politician says in 15 seconds. So you have got time, and I can prove it again and again. You just need to ask a few more questions that are open, so how, what, why, where, when, and who. Get the patient talking, listen carefully to the answer, and then you can give them the information. So it's just a lack of questions, 9 out of 10 times.
Well, in which case, Simon, I'm going to say to you, please may I ask you one question?
Yes, of course.
Please will you come back and visit us again?
Of course I will. Yes.
Simon, thank you so much.
You're welcome.